Today we're going to have a discussion on movies and the recent movies I've seen. Two recent films I've seen, Deadpool 2 and Avengers Infinity War. I've seen them in cinema and I plan to go see Solo: A Star Wars Story. And actually by the time I have this edited and published, I'll probably have seen it already, and I might have a review up for that soon as well. So Deadpool 2 is directed by David Leitch, who directed Atomic Blonde and also produced the John Wick films. Deadpool is back, and Ryan Reynolds is typically really good at portraying the role of Deadpool, and is excellent in his comedic timing and his sort of animated performances. So this film introduces the villain Cable, who is played by Josh Brolin, who sort of gets himself in a very macho sort of a physique for the role. Brolin plays his role very well, and in this film we get introduced to a new series of characters called the X-Force, who are sort of like a band of misfits that are assembled by Deadpool and his friend who works at the bar. Julian Dennison is also in the film as this sort of guy with a flame hand. You might remember him from The Hunt for the Wilder People. For comic book nerds, there's also the introduction of Juggernaut. So he's this sort of big guy that they managed to break out. I don't want to give any spoilers for the film, so I can't say too much. But I will say that the comedic timing is really good. There's a few surprises, a few twists in the plot. And I'd really recommend seeing it. I actually enjoyed it a little bit more than the original Deadpool, which myself and Conor have a review for on this channel if you want to check that out also. There are parts of the narrative that sort of drag, and there are a few pacing issues as well, so it's not the perfect film. Some parts of the comedy also don't really hit that well, but overall it's a really funny film and entertaining and worth going to see. So the next film I want to talk about is Avengers Infinity War, which is directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, who directed Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier, and Civil War also. So these are sort of guys that are well established in directing the movies in the Marvel franchise. So it's hard to sort of review this film without giving too many spoilers, and I won't give any spoilers, but I will say that the action in this film is excellent. It's a really good visual experience. It brings in loads of characters from the Marvel universe. Sometimes it gets a little bit over convoluted in trying to follow each of these characters' story arcs, and it kind of use a lot of parallel editing where it kind of cuts back and forth between their stories and sort of gives you that illusion that it's happening at the same time, which I suppose is a common trend in films. But I suppose they do it well, but sometimes you want to just watch one of the arcs kind of play out rather than cutting back between 10 different arcs, because they sort of bring in every character from the previous Marvel universe, apart from Ant-Man. Ant-Man's not in the film. They mention him once, but I know they have that film called Ant-Man and the Wasp that's coming out pretty soon, or Ant-Man 2 with the Wasp, or whatever it's called. That's probably going to be an interesting film. I will say that Thanos is really excellent as a villain. They've really sort of brought on his story throughout the last few films, and he's come to the fore now, and we kind of see some of his history and some of his connections. He's also got a connection to one character from the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. I won't spoil that, but it's a really interesting plot device, and it plays out really nicely. Yeah, so as I said, I don't want to say too much without spoiling it, so I'll let you watch the film, but I will really recommend it, and I think it's an excellent action piece and probably one of the best films in the Marvel franchise so far.